About 2.5 years ago, someone came to me and told me about this business that they thought I would do.
What if I told you the most people promoting financial freedom online don't actually make their money the way they claim? Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I know I have been lost, but I am back. I'm starting a new series where I will be breaking down network marketing videos that I've seen come across my social media page, especially those that are targeting countries in Africa or even in Asia. These are places where not enough people are asking the hard questions. And of course, I am online and I see creators talking about or warning people about multi-level companies and network marketing companies that are targeting people, but they mostly concentrate on countries in the West. So I felt like we need to see diversity in this type of content. Now, I am not here to shame anyone at all. I am an accountant with a degree in business administration. I have owned and run 2 businesses over the last 10 years, and I'm also a woman and a mother. So I deeply understand the pull of wanting flexible income, staying home with your kids, or working part-time while still dreaming big. This also applies to students because I see these companies are also targeting students who are in the university, and especially I would say in my home country, I see students working so hard while they know that in the end there are very, very few employment opportunities, and I see these companies targeting them. But I also know how business models work from the experience and also from what I learned in school. So, in this series, we are going to pause the hype. We are going to slow things down and look at what is actually being sold. We're going to look at the structure, the math, the risks, the reality behind the promises. We are going to go through all these companies' websites and read what is written in there that we are not always able to see on social media. Some of these opportunities may sound amazing. Some may not even be what they seem. And my goal isn't to tell you what to do. It is just to help you make informed decisions with your eyes wide open. So let's watch today's video together and talk about what's really going on.
About 2.5 years ago, someone came to me and told me about this business that they thought I would do. And like so many people, one of my first reactions was, why would you come to me and tell me this idea?
Let me stop him here. People selling MLMs or multi-level marketing or network marketing business ideas almost always start with that "I was skeptical at first" story, just like he has said. And it's not because they are being extra honest. It is because it's a persuasion trick. By telling you that they resisted in the beginning, they are basically saying, "Oh, I already had my doubts. I already had doubts like you have, so you don't need to think too hard about them." It makes them sound smart and careful without actually showing any real analysis. And it quietly reframes skepticism, which is healthy, as fear or a mindset issue. It also shows a classic hero story. They almost said no, then they had a breakthrough, and now they are living proof that it works, which creates fear of missing out, FOMO, and urgency. And especially for women or people who are looking for a flexible income, or even just people who do not have any source of income, that story hits emotionally because it turns this hesitation that they feel into something that you're supposed to overcome. Like it is telling you not to listen to this hesitation or your inner feelings or gut feeling, which is exactly why you hear it every single time.
Right? But that person really insisted. They were like, no, 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 no. I know if you tried this business, you would do really well in it. And for about almost 4 or 5 months, actually almost 6 months, by the way, I I was like, no, 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 no. I'm okay. I'm doing photography. I ran a very successful photography business. I don't want to start another business. I don't even have the bandwidth to start another business, but they insisted. And one of the days, I think for myself at that particular point, I just decided, let me check it out. Let me see what all the hula baloo is all about and see if they're actually right. It is something that I might like. And they handed me a book which was explaining what that business is all about. And I sat down, I think, for about 3 hours just reading all through, because the goodness with that particular business is the fact that there is a blueprint on how does a business work, how would you make money with the business itself. And by the time I was done with the 3 hours, I asked the person, okay, so how much do I need to start with this business? And they mentioned to me, you need probably around 11,000. And I looked at the finances that I had and I started the business. The next day, this was a Sunday that I was making the decision. On a Monday, I went and started the business. That is actually now 2 years ago. In my very first month of starting this business, I didn't really understand how to make money, but I was just there. I would try and look for a client here and there, extremely sporadic, again, because I didn't really understand what the business really could do. Yes, I've joined the business. Yes, I can see the promise of the money that exists. And I can see even one or two people that are succeeding with the business, because that time I was not really plugged into the business itself. But it took about 6 months for me to consciously decide, let me go and attend a meeting by the company. And this is something that you will see so many times, especially from now into the future, of me attending such events, because it was January of 2024 when I went to my very first company event, even though others had been there before. And anytime this person would tell me, come for an event, I'm like, I'm busy. And that's what tends to happen, especially for people who get started in the business. And so when I went for this event, I remember very clearly, I was among the first people to get in, because I got in at before 8, and the event was to start at 8. So I came in and I sat uko nyuma at the back, because anyway, for me, I felt like a stranger, and I don't know very many people there. But I sat at the back. But the MC, when she was starting the meeting at around 8:15 there, she said, everyone who's at the back, because there were a few who had already come in, move so that you sit a bit closer. And so, like the obedient person I was on that day, I went and sat on the second row. And from there, I could actually be able to see everything that's going on. And it also allowed me to experience something that I had never experienced before. So during that particular event, it was a celebration event, what typically we call a recognition event, and people were winning gifts as well.
Quick pause. Let's talk about why they do this. This part is so important because this is very intentional. So, they push new recruits to attend recognition events because these events are designed to emotionally anchor you to the company before you've even had time to question it. You are suddenly surrounded by applause, by success stories, like he said, by stage lights, and people being celebrated for ranking up or for having gained or achieved these positions, which makes the business feel inevitable and proven before you've even started. So even though you're not seeing the thousands who didn't make it, public recognition creates social pressure to stay, to try harder, and for you not to be the person who quits after everyone has clapped for you. It also trains you to chase validation instead of profit. So instead of asking, am I actually making money? You start asking, how do I get on that stage? Like that becomes your goal. And once you've been publicly recognized, leaving doesn't just feel like quitting a business. It's like you're walking away from some form of identity, of an identity that you've built up, and even a community.
And so I was there, uh, quote unquote, new in the business because I'd been there for 6 months. So I'm not really actually new, but this was a new experience for me. And so as I stayed in, I saw the whole event and people were excited. And it is this excitement that, being in the business now for 2 years, that people do not understand who are not doing the business. Because a normal entrepreneur's story and life is usually around everything is hard, things are going haywire and things like that. But in this particular business, yes, operating in the same economy, but the people who are in the business have a different mindset as to how exactly the economy looks like. And when you're outside, you may feel like it is too much, but the truth of the matter is that's the way you're supposed to be living your life, with an extremely positive attitude and outlook to life. Before I digress. So, as the event is going on, I'm looking and seeing, oh, this person has just been recognized for doing this amount of sales. This person has been recognized because of growing their team. This person has been recognized because of doing ABC. And I asked myself, what is it that those people have that I don't have? And it is from that meeting that I personally decided, even though I'm doing this business part-time, which I still do until now, even though I'm doing it part-time, I will give it a little more seriousness and see what it can actually do for me, and prove if this business is good or not. And so that was January of 2024. In February of 2024, the company announced that there would be a competition. And the competition is around, you need to do this level of sales per month for 4 months consecutively. So you need to look for clients, you need to get people to buy your products for 4 months consecutively, and you're given a target. The target is you need to do about $600 worth of business every single month. And once you do that, you get a prize. And the prize was a trip to Masai Mara.
So we realize that when these people introduce trips as incentives, because trips are a very powerful way to prove success without actually proving income. I know growing up, I think I left. My first trip was when I left my country and I was 24. So going on a trip, especially in a different country, is like a dream come true because it is just way above most people's income. So a company sponsored trip like this looks like evidence that the business works because they post photos and videos, but most of the time distributors have already paid for these trips themselves. Through all the sign up fees, we see them, the monthly purchases that they have to keep on paying or buying to maintain their distributorship status. They pay for event tickets. That's something they don't tell you about. People buy event tickets. When there are trips, you have to pay for your own flights, or even bringing in enough recruits to hit volume targets. You just don't go on a trip. You have to recruit so many people. So these trips create a highlight reel, beaches, group photos, branded outfits. So you are on this trip, it's like a work trip. They claim it's a trip that you've won. Yes, you've won or you've gained, but you're working throughout this trip. You're creating content for yourself and for the company itself. These trips and all this content sell the dream to outsiders while hiding the real cost in money, in time, and in unpaid labor it took to get there. It also depends commitment. Once you've invested that much and you've publicly posted about that trip, it becomes so much harder to admit that the business isn't profitable. What will you tell people, because they've seen you going on all these trips? Even if your numbers are telling you they're not adding up, but you're just like, I've put myself at a certain status, I cannot come down. This is the sunk cost fallacy in simple language.
That is for 2024. And so, because now I've made the decision of, let me try and do this thing seriously, I told myself, what if I become serious in this competition and get this trip or qualify for this trip, so that I can see if it is true that the company does what it says it does. And so in February, I got in so serious, social media posts every day, going online and placing ads, selling here and there, sending things all the way to places like Kisumu and things like that. And for 4 months, that's what I was doing.
These companies encourage distributors to come online and to tell their stories, because personal stories sell much more better than facts, and curiosity is easier to trigger than proof. When we see such videos, we are very interested. Like, if you go to this person's comments, you will see so many people are like, yeah, how can I join? How can I join? So when someone shares a transformation story, especially around freedom, how this business has changed their lives, their confidence, or how they are finally believing in themselves, it feels so relatable and even trustworthy. Even if there are no actual numbers that are shown, but you just find yourself trusting this person, and especially if they're eloquent like this gentleman over here. It also turns these distributors into unpaid marketers. The free labor that they are doing, they are constantly posting. Like he said, he even bought ads. They're engaging, they're defending the business in public. You're always online. This really deepens their own commitment while attracting new recruits who want the same lifestyle that they are seeing online. The curiosity posts work because they pull people into private messages. You see them saying, DM me, where pressure can be applied without transparency. And once your identity is tied to your story online, it becomes much more harder to step back or admit that it did not work.
And it got to a point where, instead of doing $2,400 worth of business in 4 months, I actually did close to $6,000 worth of business. And that completely changed my business. And it was the first time I could actually look at what I was making in terms of profits and a bonus at the end of the month, that I thought to myself, this can actually be a business I can do for a long while than I actually thought. And from there, it was now, I need to stabilize myself. I need to teach people about this. And that's also the reason why this video exists. Because whenever people hear about network marketing, they see only the events, because we talk about events very many times, but it is the stories around building an actual business that I think is missing. And so I'm doing this video. It's almost 7 p.m. I'm doing this video just as a commitment to you who has chosen to follow my platforms. That if you're curious and open to see what network marketing actually is, then this is a place to come. I know that we are in an industry that just promotes all the good things, which good things happen. But I also want to show you the other side, the side of doing the actual work before I can be able to get the things that I want to get. So I'll tell you this. And this is a personal goal. My month is starting this month. We are in the month of June. June is my first month. So I am targeting to be able to qualify for a car that this company gives every year. And I am building this between now and May of 2026. And I will actually put this up and pin it on my profile so that whoever comes, whichever month, they will see. And I'll do my best as we are going on to give you updates like this as to how close am I to the car and things like that. But every other thing that I do in the middle between now and 8th of June 2026 is around working to get that car. Okay? So mentorship of other people to get to their goals, because I currently have a team of 37 and I'm working on building that, because by the end of this, I need to have a team of 1,000 in my team in the next 12 months.
So they usually also don't explain that the people that they are recruiting are actually the ones helping them hit these things like car bonuses, like the one he's talking about, because that will break the illusion of independence and success. It's supposed to be your own business. So how come you are talking about recruiting people to help you get this car bonus? Yeah, the car is framed as a reward from the company, when in reality it's almost always tied to team volume. He has said he needs, like, he has 37 recruits. He wants to get 1,000 people. Can you imagine? That's about 963 people that he needs to recruit. It's like the car is framed as a reward from the company, when in reality it's tied to this team volume, meaning it's your recruits sign-ups, their monthly purchases, and their continued participation that keeps that bonus alive. What's hidden is that this free car, in quotes, it's not free at all. It is often a conditional allowance. It is to be taxed as an income, and it is very dependent on maintaining a rank every single month. And if your team's performance drops, you are still responsible for the payments. I don't know how it works in Kenya, but that's how it works, like in these other developed countries. So instead of asking, is this car affordable on my own income, people are being encouraged to see it as proof that the business works, even though it only works as long as they keep paying in.
So I'm building that as we go on. So I welcome you to see this journey as I take those steps. And I am very conscious of the fact that putting up my goals up on social media is not something I typically do, but this is not even a business I would typically have done. And so I have to take myself out of the comfort zone of I have been building this business almost in secret, but I'll give you all the behind the scenes that I can about this business. And if you have any questions about how to start this business, please place them in the comments. You never know, I'll do a video probably tomorrow about it or the day after. So wish me luck. I'm building a business and building it in public. This is the first time I've actually done something like that. And I'm hoping that if you get invested in watching this journey, that it actually also inspires you to work on your dreams. Whether you decide to join my business or not, or you build your own business, this journey that I'm doing is not just for me, it's also to inspire the people who watch this to go for their dreams. So my current dream is that in June of 2026, I will have my car. I already know which brand and model I want to get. I will reveal that soon. But for now, I'm going for a car and I want to be gifted that car in 2026. That's what my target is. And I hope you join me on this particular journey. So make sure to follow me so that you can see this dream in action. See you guys.
At the end of the day, none of these tactics are random. And even this gentleman, I have seen so many videos like this. And I will come back and share them as I'm going through them. The stories, the recognition, the trips, the cars, the social media hype, they all serve the same purpose: to replace clear business fundamentals with emotion, visibility, and belief. Real businesses don't need secrecy or constant motivation or public validation to survive. They rely on profit, transparency, and sustainability. Wanting flexible income or community or a better life is not the problem at all. That's not what I mean. The problem is when those very real desires are used to keep people investing time and money into systems that only work if others keep on joining. My goal here isn't to tell you yes or no. It's just to help you see the full picture, to ask better questions and make decisions that truly serve you and your family. If any of these resonates with you, I'd really love to hear your experience, whether you've been in a network marketing company, if you've considered joining one or are currently being approached. Share your thoughts in the comment section, or even just send me an email or a message, because these conversations matter and they help others feel less alone. If you found this helpful, give the video a like so it reaches more people who might need it, and subscribe if you want more honest breakdowns like this, especially focused on markets in countries in Africa and Asia that don't get talked about enough. Thank you so much and see you in my next video. Bye.